Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Tiny Learn Hub and welcome back to our SQL interview series. In our previous episode, we learned about exist, non-exist and not exist and in as well. So today we are moving into another SQL concept that is you will see the constantly in real world example and applications as well. So that is case when. Like now, here's the interesting part. SQL is very good at filtering data. But what if we don't want to filter the rows? So what if we want the SQL to look at a value and create a decision based on it? For example, if the salary is greater than 80,000, call the employee's high salary. If the salary is between the 60 to 80,000, call it medium salary. Otherwise, call it low salary. Think of it as a SQL version of conditional logic. So let's see how it is work. Okay. Well, this is the employee table I have created for this particular episode. So imagine you are working on a HR application and your database stores the the employee's salary. So they want a report like Sam is 70,000, that is medium, David is 90,000 as a high, and John is 50,000. It is based on the low salary. So we don't need to change the data stored in the database. We simply want to calculate a category while displaying the results. Okay, so this is a perfect use case for the case when. Now, let me show you one example. So this is the table. Let me execute the table first. Okay, let me expand it. Yeah, so this is the table. This is our data. Okay, so this table, as you see, here is all the tables, all the datas are there on the basis of the employee salary, department name, and the ID. Now, in let me use the when clause in here. Okay, let's come to the second query. So in here, we write a condition using when, and if this condition is true, we return the value after then, and if it's false, the SQL checks the next when. So, and if none of the conditions are true, true or false anything, so else gives us the default result. Okay. Finally, we close the expression with end. So this is the structure of the particular query. Okay. Now this is our second query where we are basically checking the if the salary is 80,000 or more, we call it as a high salary. If the salary is 60,000 or more, it is the medium salary. And if otherwise, we call it as a low salary. Okay, notice something important here. We haven't changed anything in our table. We are simply creating a calculate column in our results. So this is extremely useful for the reports and the database. Let me execute this query first so it will be easy for you to understand what is happening. Okay. So as you see, it will comes under the basic salary categories. Okay. Now, this is here's something important like the order of your when condition matters, and SQL evaluates the condition from the top to bottom. Okay, as soon as it finds a condition that is true, it uses that result. For example, like condition when the 60,000 salary is 60,000 and more, so it will use the condition for that one. Okay. So here, can you spot a problem in here? Like an employee earning 90,000 satisfies, okay, the salary greater than equals to 60,000 immediately, and so SQL returns a medium and never reaches the 80,000 condition. So that's why we should put it more specific or higher threshold first. Okay, so this is a very basic interview tips for you. So case isn't limits to the numbers, so we can also use it with text. Now let me come to our next query. Yes, so in here we are translating the database values into more descriptive level. It comes like the technology wise, like the IT comes under the technology, HR comes under the human resource, and finance becomes the financial team. So it can be useful when the values stored in the database are short coded, but the business report needs more reliable descriptions. Okay, So this makes the episode more interesting. Like I have one question for you guys. Like what if the business says, um, show high salary employee first, then the medium, then the low. Okay. So can case helps us to control the sorting order? Before that, let me execute this query first so it will be easy for you to understand what is happening. So as you see, we can divide it and based on the department group in here. So Sam comes under the IT, John comes under the HR, that is human resources. So this is how we categorize it. Now here comes our next query. Okay, so in here, hmm, so in here, like we are using case inside the order by. So high salary gets priority 1, medium gets priority 2, and low gets priority 3. So instead of simplify sorting by the salary number, we are sorting accordingly to our business defined priorities. Okay, so this is where the episode becomes more interview oriented. Now, I have one question to you guys as well. Like, can we use a case with aggregated functions? Think about it. Okay. So, meanwhile, I execute this query, and this is the result. Yeah. So, this is how we sorted the data on the basis of high, medium, and low salary based. Now, come to my question, like, how many employees we can use a case with aggregated function or not. So absolutely we can use that one. And suppose the manager asks you like how many employees belong to each salary category. We can write the query for that one as well. Yes, so it will be summation of that query. Like you can particularly check how many employees are comes under the high salary rate, how many employees comes under the medium salary range, and how many employees are comes under the low salary range as well. So let me execute this query first. Yes, so this is the result. Let me expand it so it will be easy for you. Yes, so this is how we can calculate the summation on based of the salary deficiency. Now, this technique is extremely useful. We are converting each condition into either 1 or 0. Then sum adds those values. So every employee that satisfies the condition contributes 1 and everyone else contributes 0. So this is something called conditional aggregation and it's very useful SQL interview technique. So this distinction is important. Here's come another question. In case you are using the where clause. So in the case can you use the where? No, where filters the rows, case calculates the value for a row. And like in here, let me show you one example. Like in here, I didn't use any kind of case or anything. So it is a simple where query. So as you see, like it where removes the row that don't match and case changes and or calculates a value in a result. Example like select employee name or something. Yeah, this is the one. Uh, so you can see like you can select the highest salary greater than equals to 80,000 that is high salary else not high. So this kind of things you can calculate from this way. So this is a query. It returns all the employee but creates a category for each one. Okay. So that's an important distinction. This is the particular query. Like it is not high, it is high. So this kind of category it can create. So there are some sort of common mistakes that are made by the beginners in here. So the mistake number one is uh, if you don't provide an else SQL can return the null when no condition matches. So this is the forgetting else, it is a number one mistake. Now, if I comes to the mistake two, that is wrong condition order. Like as we saw earlier, SQL evaluates condition from the top to bottom. The mistake number three is overlapping conditions. Like be careful when your conditions are overlap. Make sure the order produce the result you actually want. Okay. Then comes the mistake number four, that is forgetting end. Every case expression must end with end. This is the valuable thing. Okay. Now, here comes some interview questions from my end, like what is case when? If they ask you what is case when is a conditional expression used to return different values depending on whether conditions are true or false. Now comes to the second question, is case the same as if else? Conceptually, it provides similar conditional logic, but case is SQL expression designed to work inside the SQL statement. Now comes to the third question, that is, does case modify the database? No, by itself, not by itself. Okay, in a select statement, case normally calculates a value for the query that result without changing the stored data. Now comes the fourth question, that is, can case be used with aggregated function? Yes, conditional aggregation using case is a very common SQL technique. Now, here is a today's challenge for you guys. We have one employee table. Let's create one table on your end. Whatever data you want to put, you can put it there. But after that, you should have write a query that displays the employee name, salary, and a new column called salary level. Okay. Your rules are salary greater than or equal to 80,000 comes under the higher category. Salary between the 60,000 and 79,999 comes under the medium query, and salary below 60,000 comes under the low salary. But there's a second part. Count how many employees belong to each salary level. Pause the video and try it yourself. I'll post the solution in the pinned comment. So, in our today's episode, the case when in SQL, today we learned like case when syntax, creating conditional categories, case with numbers, case with text, case with order by, conditional aggregation, case versus where, and common interview mistakes. If you are preparing for SQL interviews, make sure you practicing writing case expressions yourself. Don't just memorize the syntax. Understand what SQL is actually doing. Thank you for watching. I'll meet you in the next episode. Till then, bye.